Hi there, LW222 Science of Nutrition and Exercise students. This is your week 14 video. Note that e-learning is now up and fully functional, so I'm just going to go ahead and record a short video because for some reason I couldn't get it to work in virtual classroom this week. So this is just another video just going over again what you need to do for week 14. So for this week, 2 chapters. So you've got chapter 28, which deals with nutrition and physical performance. So you're going to be looking at how we can fuel our bodies appropriately for different types of exercise. Okay, so especially for those people who maybe are more athletic and they're competing in different events or different types of activities, fueling prior to and even during that event is going to help us to perform better. So not only does the type of training that we do in preparation for that event help us, but also the fuel, what we are feeding our skeletal muscles and our body so we can perform better during that particular event is key. So you're going to learn about carbohydrate and how the requirements do go up depending on the type of activity status or athlete that you might be. Protein requirements also go up as well for certain groups of individuals. So it really keys into those key nutrients and how those requirements increase and what's needed maybe before, during, and even after exercise to not only fuel up, but to refuel after. So here's your pre-learning assessment for that chapter. Then you have your Global Nutrition Watch. You have a closer look assignment, which again, you have up to 3 attempts on that particular assignment. Here's your case study. The complete Riding with Nutrition is the case study. And then you have a diet and wellness skill building assignment this week that goes along with that chapter 28. So let's open that up real quick and take just a peek at what you're creating as far as a profile and what you need to enter as far as tracking that person's diet. So again, I'm always looking at the circle with the slash mark through it to get my pieces of information that I need. So this is a profile for Kimmy Royce. Now, for some reason, I believe you guys already created a profile for Kimmy. If not, you know the drill, right? You're getting really good at creating those profiles, but you're going to enter in all this information. So here it says she's not pregnant, she's not a smoker, she's not a strict vegetarian. So you don't even need to check a box for any of that stuff, okay? So we're just kind of leaving that stuff off the list. But we're entering female, 5'6", 160 pounds. She's very active, and then her birth date. So that's really all you're entering when you're creating that profile for Kimmy. Now, as far as tracking Kimmy's diet, you are going to do 3 days worth of snacks. So it's not a whole lot of material and information that you're going to have to plug into that food tracker. So your day 1 snack, you can see here, the apple, cracker, peanut butter. Day 2, they've got a bagel with jelly and milk. And then day 3, it's a little more of a meal for day 3. So those are the 3 days worth of foods that you're going to be entering. And then you are going to generate an intake spreadsheet report. Okay, so remember, if we go back into our diet and wellness and we look at our reports, remember the intake spreadsheet report is right here. Okay, so that's going to break down. Let's see if I can find a day with some foods here. That is going to break down all the different foods that you've entered. And per food item, it's telling me how many grams of carb, protein, fat, saturated fat, all of your vitamins and minerals, and basically what that particular food contains when you're looking at each of those key nutrients. So your intake spreadsheet can be very helpful when it comes to that. So as far as the questions go, let's take a look at a couple questions here. So during her training, Kimmy is trying to eat a diet that's high in carbohydrates. So obviously those people who are doing more of an endurance-based training program, they need to up their calories from carbohydrates to, maybe the 60 to 70% of total calorie range. So her fat intake is staying moderate, 20 to 35%, and protein she's staying at about 10 to 20. So which day has the lowest percentage of total calories from fat? So again, you're doing that intake spreadsheet report, and I want to know what percentage of total calories on day 1 came from fat, day 2, and day 3. So by looking at these different reports, you're going to be able to, you're going to have to do the math, right? But you can calculate what percentage of total calories came from fat in that particular day. So for example, for this day that I've entered, I have just 3.7 grams of fat, only because I have 3 different foods. And then of course I've got my total calories, which is 254. So I simply change my fat grams to calories by multiplying by 9, and then I divide that by my total calories to get my percentage for that particular day. And by doing that, for day 1, I can do it for day 2, I can do it for day 3, and I can get my answer. Okay, let's take a look at another question. Some sports nutrition professionals recommend a range of 6 to 10 grams of carbohydrate per kilogram of body weight for athletes in heavy training. So if Kimmy weighs 160 pounds, how many grams of carbs per day should she be taking in? So note that you have to change pounds to kilograms. So 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. So in order to change body weight into kilograms, you simply divide body weight in pounds by 2.2. Okay, so 160 pounds is what she weighs. You divide that by 2.2 and you'll get her body weight in kilograms. Okay, then you simply multiply that number by 6 to get the low end, and then multiply that number by 10 to get the high end. And that will tell you how many grams of carbohydrate she needs per day based on her body weight. Okay, so easy enough. You're going to be able to run through all of those questions, and using your reports or your textbook, you're going to be able to answer those particular questions. Okay, so let's go back to week 14. And again, under chapter 28, you also have a post-learning assessment. Okay, so that will complete everything for chapter 28. Then moving into chapter 29, you have nutrition and pregnancy. So for this particular chapter, it's going to get into those key nutrients of concern when it comes to being pregnant. So there are certain key nutrients that need to be increased during pregnancy and even during lactation. So after we have the baby, we continue to breastfeed. Those nutrients of concern are also going to be higher at that point in time as well than a non-pregnant woman. Okay, so we are going to be looking at those key nutrients, and not every single nutrient increases. Okay, there's a handful though, including calories. Your calorie ingestion goes up from the 2nd trimester. It also goes up into the 3rd trimester. So the amount of calories we need each day really doesn't change in the 1st trimester, but in the 2nd trimester, it's around 300, 340 calories additional per day. And then in the 3rd trimester, it's over 400 calories additional per day that a woman's body needs. So for chapter 29, you've got your pre-learning assessment. Here's your global nutrition watch, and here's your case study. Now for this one, we have 2 diet and wellness skill building assignments. So again, let's open up the first one that deals just with pregnancy. Okay. So for this person's diet, we have quite a bit. So you're tracking 3 days worth of food. So each day is going to be worth about 2,000 calories. So for day 1, you've got breakfast, morning snack, lunch, dinner. Day 2, although you only have a snack. Okay, so you're only recording a snack for day 2, which is 340 calories. And then day 3, you're recording a 450 calorie afternoon snack. Okay, so those are the 3 days that you're recording foods for. Now, as far as the profile, let me find the profile here. Of course, it's the last one I come to. The profile is for Moira Doyle. Now, please note that she is 28 at least weeks pregnant. So she's 28 plus weeks pregnant. Now, in diet and wellness, when we create a profile, they don't give us the choice to choose pregnancy. So if you look down under creating profile, You know, there's the only choices we have are smoker or strict vegetarian. Pregnancy is not even a choice. Okay, and I wanted to let you know that because Cengage actually used to have it in there, but they've removed it because of HIPAA regulations. So that is personal health information that they do not want to be asking individuals, and so they took that out as a choice. So with that said, you still can create the profile for Moira, putting in her gender and her height and her weight and her activity status, right? But just we can't choose pregnant, okay? But just note that your textbook does give some valuable information. So if I pulled up the book right here, side by side with that assignment, I can actually go to chapter 29 here, nutrition and pregnancy, and let's just scroll through to nutrient needs. Okay, so I'm just going to move ahead to what are the nutrient needs during pregnancy. Okay, so the need for calories and key nutrients during pregnancy, though. So this is the section I'm going to pay attention to and read through closely, okay, because it does get into all those key nutrients. And also this table is nice because it does show us just on a bar graph, blue is non-pregnant women, green is pregnant women, and then red would be lactating women. So you can see some key nutrients that do increase from non-pregnant to pregnant are things like total calories. Obviously, a caloric intake does increase from being not pregnant to being pregnant. Protein requirements increase, vitamin K requirements increase, right, and so on. So there's quite a few you can see where that green line does go farther than that blue line. But also it is more specific, like for example, calories. Like I said, additional 340 calories per day in the second trimester, 450 in the third is what's recommended. Folate is another big one that has to increase during pregnancy. So here it's talking about what are those current requirements when it comes to folic acid. So this portion of your textbook can be very helpful in regards to those key nutrients of concern and how much more do we require during pregnancy, okay? So with that said, the reports, let's see, did we look at the reports that need to be generated? For this, it's a combination report that starts on day 1 and ends on day 3. So a combination report could be something like an, let's look at the reports. So a combination report could really be a 3-day average. So starting on the first day and ending on the last day, or I'm sorry, the last day over here. And that 3-day average report is really kind of a breakdown of everything. So all my intake versus goals, I've got my macronutrient ranges, I've got my MyPlate analysis, and then I even have like a source analysis as well here. So this 3-day average report is kind of, I think, would be very helpful for that particular test, or that particular, to answer these questions, I should say. So let's just take a look at a question here. So the DRI for calcium for non-pregnant women is 1,000 milligrams. The DRI for vitamin D is 15 micrograms per day. So how do the DRIs for calcium and vitamin D differ during pregnancy? So again, if we're looking at, you know, this particular section of the textbook, that right there is going to tell you what those requirements are. Because again, if I look at the report, it's really not going to tell me because I could not choose pregnancy as a when I created her profile. Okay, so I need to refer to my textbook and see, okay, what are the requirements during pregnancy? So right here it says vitamin D, an intake of 15 micrograms of vitamin D daily is officially recommended during pregnancy. So when we look at here, what did it say? Right, so right there we're going to find our answer. So I might scroll down and look for calcium. Is there a change in calcium based on what they're saying in that chapter? So I would suggest pulling up the book side by side here and scrolling through to see if it can help you answer those questions, because sometimes the report is not going to tell me what the DRI is for a pregnant woman, because it would not allow me to create her profile as being pregnant. Okay, so hopefully you understand that, and you should be able to move forward without any issues. So other than that, the rest of the questions, for the most part, you're going to find those answers on those reports. Okay. So the other diet and wellness skill building assignment this week is one on WIC, and WIC is Women, Infant, and Children. So it's really focuses on healthy nutrition for the women who are pregnant, and even for those young children as well. So let's pull up this assignment real quick. It's always so slow to load. Here we go. Okay, what are we looking at here? So here's my profile. It's Kimmy Royce. Again, I believe you already have one created for Kimmy. So you're just going to open up her profile, and then you are going to do a 3-day average report, which is what we just actually opened up for the last assignment. And then what are we entering? We're going to be entering in 3 2,000 calorie days. So you've got day 1, day 2, day 3, but each day is going to be really a 2,000 calorie WIC meal plan. Okay, so that's the foods that you're going to enter for all 3 days. So once you do that, you generate that 3-day average report, and then again, you're going to be able to find your answers on that particular 3-day average report. Okay. So other than that, for week 14, you just have your a closer look assignment for chapter 29 as well, and then your post-learning assessment for chapter 29. Last but not least, make sure that you are getting your exercise hours in this week. As always, we're approaching the end of the semester. After this week, we only have 1 week left. So by the end of next week, you will be your exercise hours for the class and finishing up everything else in the class next week. Okay, so we're going to meet again in virtual classroom next Tuesday for the last time, and I'm also going to go over how to submit your exercise hours so you know that you're doing it correctly, and then what I'm looking for, which again, I've already been talking about this all semester long. I need detail of exactly what you did for each session. I also need proof, right? I need a proper way to prove that you actually did do what you said you did. Okay, and we've talked about ways that you can provide that proof way back at the beginning of the semester. So we'll kind of talk about that a little bit next week, along with what is due next week as well, to wrap up the semester. So other than that, have a great day, everybody.